Marcus Chin stood at the intersection, watching the traffic light count down. 45 seconds until he'd be late for the most important job interview of his life. Behind him, a young woman's voice cried out in distress. He could have kept walking. He should have kept walking. But something his mother taught him years ago echoed in his mind. Character is what you do when nobody's watching. In that moment, Marcus made a choice that would cost him everything he'd worked for. Or so he thought. What happened next would prove that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest miracles. But first, Marcus had to lose it all. If you believe in the power of doing the right thing, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This story will remind you why kindness always comes back around. ***. Marcus Chin, 28 years old, had spent the last 3 months preparing for this moment. The interview with Sterling Tech Industries was scheduled for 9 a.m. sharp, and he'd been told that CEO Victoria Sterling herself would be conducting the final round of interviews. Victoria was known throughout Silicon Valley for 2 things: her brilliant mind for technology and her absolute intolerance for tardiness. The position was Senior Software Architect, a role that could change Marcus's life. After losing his previous job during company layoffs 6 months ago, he'd burned through his savings paying for his younger sister's college tuition. His mother, a nurse who'd raised him and his sister alone after their father passed away, had worked double shifts to give them opportunities. Now it was Marcus's turn to provide for his family. He'd studied for weeks, researching Sterling Tech's products, memorizing technical details, and practicing his responses. His navy blue suit, borrowed from his college roommate, hung a bit loose on his frame. He'd lost weight from stress and too many instant noodle dinners. But his resume was solid. His coding portfolio was impressive. All he needed was this one chance. That Tuesday morning, Marcus left his apartment an hour early. He couldn't afford to be late. The bus ride to downtown took 40 minutes, and he arrived at the Sterling Tech building with 20 minutes to spare. The glass tower reflected the morning sun, its modern architecture intimidating and inspiring at the same time. As Marcus walked the final 3 blocks from the bus stop to the building entrance, he felt his phone buzz. A text from his mother. "Good luck today, son. Your father would be so proud. Remember, be yourself and show them who you really are." Marcus smiled, typing back quickly. "Thanks, Mom. I've got this." But fate had other plans. At 8:52 a.m., Marcus stood at a busy intersection just 1 block from Sterling Tech's entrance. The crosswalk signal showed 8 seconds remaining. He could make it across and still have 6 minutes to spare. Perfect timing. That's when he heard it. A young woman's voice, panicked and desperate. "No, no, no. Please, somebody help." Marcus turned around. About 30 feet behind him, near a coffee shop entrance, a young woman in business attire knelt on the sidewalk. Papers were scattered everywhere around her, flying in the morning breeze. Her laptop bag had burst open, and she was frantically trying to gather documents while passers-by stepped around her, too busy with their own mornings to stop. But what caught Marcus's attention was the wheelchair. An elderly man sat in a manual wheelchair beside her, and the wheelchair was tilted dangerously to one side. One of the wheels had come off completely, and the old man was gripping the armrests, clearly frightened he might fall. The crosswalk signal began counting down. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Marcus looked at the woman struggling with her papers, looked at the frightened elderly man, then looked at the Sterling Tech building just across the street. His interview started in 8 minutes. "Excuse me, sir, do you need help?" someone asked as they walked past Marcus. But they were asking him, not offering to help the woman and the elderly man. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Marcus made his decision. He turned around and ran back toward the woman and the elderly man, his borrowed suit jacket flapping behind him. The crosswalk signal changed to red. He'd missed his window. "Hey, let me help you," Marcus said, reaching the woman. She looked up, her eyes wide with stress. She was probably in her early 20s, with dark hair pulled back in a professional bun and glasses that had slipped down her nose. Mascara was smudged under one eye, as if she'd been crying. "The wheelchair," she said breathlessly. "My grandfather's wheelchair just broke, and I have this presentation in 10 minutes and everything fell, and I don't know what to do." Marcus assessed the situation quickly. The elderly man, who must have been in his 70s, looked confused and scared. He was dressed in clean, simple clothes, and his hands shook slightly as he gripped the wheelchair. "It's okay," Marcus said gently to the old man, placing a steadying hand on his shoulder. We're going to fix this. Don't worry. To the woman, he said, do you have somewhere he needs to go? Family or a care facility nearby? Yes, Sunrise Senior Center, 3 blocks that way, she pointed south. But his wheelchair? Marcus knelt down and examined the wheel. The axle bolt had come loose and fallen off completely. The wheel itself had rolled into the street gutter. This wasn't something that could be quickly fixed. 8:54 a.m. 6 minutes until his interview. Okay, here's what we're going to do, Marcus said, his mind working through the problem. I'll help you get your grandfather to the senior center. It's only 3 blocks. We can manage. But you look like you're on your way somewhere important, the woman said, noticing his suit. I'll figure it out, Marcus replied, already gathering her scattered papers. Right now, your grandfather needs help, and you have a presentation to get to. The woman's eyes filled with tears. I can't thank you enough. I'm Emily, by the way. Marcus. And this is what decent people do, Emily. Together, they quickly gathered all her papers and secured them in her laptop bag. Then Marcus carefully helped the elderly man stand, supporting him with one arm while Emily folded the broken wheelchair with her free hand. What's your grandfather's name? Marcus asked as they began walking slowly. His name is Thomas, Emily said. He has dementia. I usually take him to the day center before work, but today the wheelchair company sent this new chair, and it wasn't assembled properly, and it just broke right here on the sidewalk. Thomas walked slowly between them, each step deliberate. Marcus matched his pace, patient and calm, even though his heart was racing. Every minute that passed was another minute he was late. 8:56 a.m. They moved down the sidewalk, an odd little group. A young man in an ill-fitting suit, a young woman in business clothes carrying a broken wheelchair, and an elderly man shuffling between them. People rushed past them, annoyed at having to step around this slow-moving obstacle in their busy morning. I work at Sterling Tech, Emily said as they walked. That's where I have my presentation. I'm in the marketing department, and we're pitching a new campaign strategy to the CEO this morning. If I'm late, Marcus's head snapped toward her. You work at Sterling Tech? Yes, why? He let out a bitter laugh. I have an interview there. Or I had one. At 9 a.m. with the CEO. Emily stopped walking. Oh no. Oh, Marcus, I'm so sorry. You have to go. We can manage. But Marcus looked at Thomas, who was breathing heavily from the effort of walking, and shook his head. Your grandfather needs help getting there safely. The interview doesn't matter if I can't look at myself in the mirror. My mom taught me better than that. Emily's eyes filled with tears again. That's incredibly kind. They continued walking. Marcus checked his phone. 8:58 a.m. At 9:03 a.m., they finally reached Sunrise Senior Center. The facility was warm and welcoming, with staff members who greeted Thomas by name. A nurse rushed over, concerned about the wheelchair situation. We'll take care of him, the nurse assured Emily. Don't worry, dear. He'll be fine here. Emily hugged her grandfather goodbye, whispering something in his ear that made him smile. Then she turned to Marcus, her expression filled with gratitude and guilt. Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. Because of me, you missed your interview. Marcus checked his phone. 9:07 a.m. He was 7 minutes late. With Victoria Sterling's reputation, the interview was definitely over before it began. It was the right thing to do, he said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Your grandfather needed help. At least let me buy you coffee, Emily insisted. Please. It's the least I can do. Marcus wanted to say no, wanted to rush to Sterling Tech and try to explain, but he could see how much this meant to Emily. And honestly, what difference would another 10 minutes make now? Okay, he agreed. Quick coffee. They found a small cafe nearby. Emily ordered 2 coffees while Marcus stood by the window, staring at the Sterling Tech building in the distance. His one chance gone. 6 months of job searching, all the preparation, the hope he'd carried this morning, all vanished because he chose to help a stranger. But as Emily handed him his coffee, her hands still shaking slightly from the stress of the morning, Marcus realized he wouldn't change his decision even if he could. Tell me about yourself, Emily said as they sat down. What position were you interviewing for? Senior software architect, Marcus replied. I specialize in AI integration and cloud infrastructure. But it doesn't matter now. It does matter, Emily said firmly. What you did this morning, that matters more than any interview. You gave up something important to help people you didn't even know. Marcus smiled sadly. My mom always said character is what you do when nobody's watching. I guess today, character cost me a job. Emily pulled out her phone. Give me your phone number. I'm going to talk to HR. Maybe I can explain what happened. Emily, you have your own presentation to worry about. You helped me when you didn't have to, she said. Now let me try to help you. They exchanged numbers. Marcus didn't feel hopeful, but he appreciated the gesture. They finished their coffee quickly, and Emily hurried off to Sterling Tech, already 15 minutes late for her presentation. Marcus stood on the sidewalk, alone now, staring at his phone. 9:22 a.m. He could go home, or he could at least try to explain what happened. He decided to try. At 9:30 a.m., Marcus walked into Sterling Tech's glass lobby. His suit was wrinkled from helping Thomas, and he probably looked as defeated as he felt. The receptionist, a young woman with a professional smile, looked up from her computer. Good morning. Do you have an appointment? I had an interview at 9 o'clock, Marcus said. With Ms. Sterling, for the senior software architect position. My name is Marcus Chen. The receptionist's smile faded. Mr. Chen, you're half an hour late. Ms. Sterling doesn't tolerate tardiness. I understand, but if I could just explain what happened. I'm sorry, but Ms. Sterling has already moved on to other candidates. The position has been filled. Marcus felt his heart sink. Filled? Already? Yes, sir. She made her decision 20 minutes ago. It was over. Completely over. Marcus nodded, trying to maintain his dignity. I understand. Thank you for your time. He turned to leave, defeated. 6 months of searching, and he was back to square one. How would he tell his mother? How would he pay next month's rent? Mr. Chen. Marcus turned back. The receptionist was holding a phone to her ear, listening to someone. Her expression had changed from dismissive to confused. Please wait one moment, she said. She hung up and stood. I apologize, Mr. Chen. Apparently, there's been a development. Ms. Sterling would like to see you immediately. Please follow me. Marcus's confusion must have shown on his face because the receptionist added, I don't know what happened, but you've been granted a meeting. This way, please. They took the elevator to the top floor, the executive level. The receptionist led Marcus down a hallway with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. At the end of the hall was a large conference room. Through the glass walls, Marcus could see a group of people inside. The receptionist knocked and opened the door. Mr. Chen is here, Miss Sterling. Marcus stepped inside and his breath caught. The conference room was filled with executives in expensive suits. At the head of the table sat a woman in her mid-50s with silver-streaked dark hair, piercing intelligent eyes, and a presence that commanded immediate respect. This was clearly Victoria Sterling. But what made Marcus's heart stop was the person standing next to Victoria. Emily, the young woman he'd helped that morning, stood beside the CEO, no longer looking stressed but composed and professional. She smiled at Marcus, a knowing look in her eyes. Mr. Chen, Victoria Sterling said, her voice cool and professional. Please sit down. Marcus sat, his mind racing. Why was Emily here? Was she part of the interview panel? Victoria studied him for a long moment. I understand you were late for your interview this morning. Yes, ma'am, Marcus said. I apologize. There was an emergency, and I had to help someone. Tell me about this emergency. Marcus glanced at Emily, then back at Victoria. He explained what happened. The broken wheelchair, the elderly man who needed help, the decision he made to assist them instead of arriving on time. As he spoke, he noticed something. Emily's eyes were glistening with tears, and Victoria's expression, initially stern, had softened considerably. When Marcus finished, the conference room was silent. Then Victoria Sterling did something unexpected. She smiled. Mr. Chen, do you know who Emily is? Marcus looked at Emily, confused. She said she works in marketing here. That's partially true, Victoria said. Emily is my daughter. She does work in marketing, but she's also being groomed to eventually take over this company. And Thomas, the elderly man you helped, is my father. Emily's grandfather. Marcus felt the world tilt. Emily was Victoria Sterling's daughter? When Emily arrived late to her presentation this morning, Victoria continued. She told us what happened. She told us about a young man in a suit who gave up his important interview to help her grandfather. A man who showed kindness and character when he had every reason to put himself first. Victoria stood and walked around the table to stand in front of Marcus. Mr. Chen, I've interviewed 5 candidates today. All of them had impressive resumes and technical skills. But not one of them has shown me the kind of character you displayed this morning. You see, in my 40 years in business, I've learned something important. Skills can be taught, but integrity cannot. She extended her hand. I'd like to offer you the position of senior software architect, effective immediately, along with a signing bonus to compensate for the months you've been unemployed. Marcus couldn't speak. He shook her hand, his own hand trembling. Emily stepped forward. I told my mother everything, Marcus. How you didn't hesitate to help, even knowing you'd miss your interview. How patient and kind you were with my grandfather. How you put our needs before your own. I also had our HR department contact your previous employer, Victoria added. Your former supervisor gave you a glowing recommendation. She said losing you in the layoffs was one of the biggest mistakes the company made. Marcus's eyes burned with tears he was fighting to hold back. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Victoria said simply. Say you'll join our team and bring that character to Sterling Tech every day. Yes, Marcus whispered. Then stronger. Yes. Absolutely yes. The room erupted in applause. Emily was crying openly now, smiling through her tears. Victoria's stern CEO expression had been replaced with genuine warmth. There's one more thing, Victoria said. My father, Thomas, has dementia. Some days he's very clear, other days less so. But when Emily brought him home this afternoon and told him what you did, he was having one of his clear moments. He asked me to give you something. Victoria handed Marcus an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note in shaky handwriting. Asterisk, young man, thank you for your kindness to an old man. Your parents raised you right. May your life be blessed with the same kindness you showed to me. Thomas Sterling, asterisk. Marcus couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They streamed down his face as he clutched the note. 3 months later, Marcus sat in his new office at Sterling Tech, reviewing code for the company's latest AI project. His title plaque read Senior Software Architect, and through his window, he could see the intersection where his life had changed. His mother had cried when he told her the news. His sister had screamed with joy. The signing bonus had covered 6 months of her college tuition, and Marcus's salary meant his mother could finally cut back to normal nursing shifts instead of working doubles. But the greatest reward came from the relationships he'd built. Emily had become a good friend, often stopping by his office to chat or grab lunch. She'd told him that watching him help her grandfather without hesitation had restored her faith in people's basic goodness. Victoria Sterling had become a mentor, teaching Marcus not just about technology and business, but about leadership and character. She'd shared her own story of starting in tech as one of the few women in the field, facing discrimination and doubt, and learning that success came not just from intelligence but from integrity. And Thomas, on his good days, would visit the office with Emily. Marcus always made time to sit with him, listening to stories about the old days, about Thomas's own career as a civil engineer, about the values he'd tried to instill in his family. One afternoon, as Marcus was preparing to leave for the day, Victoria stopped by his office. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Missing that interview? Even for a moment, did you wish you'd just kept walking?" Marcus thought about it honestly. "No," he said finally. "Because if I'd kept walking, I might have gotten the job based on my resume. But I wouldn't have gotten it based on who I am. And I wouldn't have this." He gestured to the office, but he meant something more. The relationships, the respect, the knowledge that he'd done the right thing. "My mother used to say that character is what you do when nobody's watching," Marcus continued. "But that day, I learned something more. Character is also what you do when everyone's watching, when the cost is high, when doing the right thing means losing something important. Because that's when it really counts." Victoria smiled. "Your mother sounds like a wise woman. I'd like to meet her someday." "She'd like that," Marcus said. "She raised us to believe that kindness always comes back around. I never quite believed it until recently." "It doesn't always come back so directly," Victoria admitted. "Sometimes you help someone and never see them again, never know if it made a difference. But that's not why we do it. We do it because it's right, regardless of reward." She paused at the door. "You know, I make hiring decisions based on many factors. But after 40 years, I've learned that the best predictor of how someone will perform under pressure isn't their resume or their references. It's how they treat people when they think no one important is watching. You thought you were just helping strangers. You had no idea Emily was my daughter or that I would ever hear about it. That's what made your choice meaningful." After Victoria left, Marcus sat in his office as the sun set over Silicon Valley. He thought about that morning 3 months ago, standing at that intersection, making a choice that seemed to cost him everything. He pulled out his phone and called his mother. Hey, Mom. Marcus. How's my successful son doing? Good, Mom. Really good. I just wanted to call and say thank you. For what, honey? For teaching me that character matters more than success. For showing me, every day growing up, what it means to help people even when it's hard. For raising me to be someone who turns around instead of walking away. His mother's voice grew soft. Your father and I always knew you were special, Marcus. Not because you're smart or successful, but because you're kind. That's the real achievement. They talked for a while longer about his sister's classes, about his mother's patients at the hospital, about small everyday things that now felt precious because Marcus had the time and security to appreciate them. After hanging up, Marcus turned off his computer and prepared to leave. On his desk was a framed photo that Emily had given him. A picture of Thomas smiling in his new wheelchair, properly assembled this time, with Emily and Marcus standing beside him. Under it, Emily had written, "The day everything changed." As Marcus walked through Sterling Tech's lobby, he saw a young intern struggling with a heavy box of equipment, papers sliding out as she tried to balance everything. Other employees walked past, too busy to notice. Marcus smiled and walked over. Hey, let me help you with that. The intern looked up, grateful and surprised. Thank you so much. I'm new here and I'm already running late. Don't worry, Marcus said, taking the box. I know something about running late. Sometimes the detours are exactly where we're supposed to be. If this story reminded you why kindness matters, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Have you ever helped someone and had it come back to you in unexpected ways? Share your story in the comments below. ***. Remember, the measure of your character isn't determined by what you achieve when everything goes right. It's revealed in what you choose to do when doing the right thing costs you something important. In a world that often rewards speed and ambition, never underestimate the power of simply being kind. ***. See you in the next story, where we'll explore another powerful lesson about humanity, integrity, and the unexpected ways life rewards those who stay true to their values.